Hi there, it's LDake again with Kale Realty, your Illinois licensed broker. My number is 773-697-4474, and my website is loridake.com. That's spelled LORIDAKE.com. Want to remind you, if you ever need to contact me, even if it's not real estate related or you just want to talk, you want me to pass along a message, you want me to help you out somehow, it's totally cool. All right. My website has all my contact ways, however it's good for you. Okay. I'm here to help. Now, before we get into today's discussion, I did want to remind you that in Illinois, real estate is deemed essential. And hey, I'm still working. So check out my website. You'll see all my current listings. I have some of my listings have virtual showings on them. That way you can check them out in the safety and comfort of your own home. Uh, as units are prepared and made into moving condition, I will go back a second time, take more pictures, more video, and it's fun just to see the comparison, and see the transition. However, a lot of times I don't get a chance to go back a second time. A lot of times they rent before that happens. So, yeah, if you like a place, you got to scoop it up. This is the busiest time of year, even with all that's going on. If I don't have what you're looking for, keep in mind I do residential sales and leasing. So I can always help you out some other way too. Okay. So let's get into it. Today is May 1st. Happy May Day. So we have a lot of some changes that happened. The biggest one, of course, cover it up. Anywhere that you can't safely socially distance, you got to wear a mask. And please remember, cover your nose and mouth at the same time. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless. Um, that's going into stores, things like that. Last week, Monday, when I did my Costco run, there was a they were already doing that, and there was a gentleman that they asked him to leave. They wouldn't let him in the store, and he was very upset about that. But they're like, hey man, rules is rules. So uh there's that. The other big ones, the pet groomers. That's that I always felt was necessity, not just cosmetic, because if an animal's nails, if they split, I mean that's painful. And then their hair gets mad, it's pulling on their skin, and that's painful too. So I'm glad that the pet groomers are back in business. But they're very busy. I have a couple friends who do it, so be sure to get your appointment in with them. Okay. Also, the state parks are starting to open, I guess, on a case by case or something like that. And then the golf courses are opening a little bit. And my husband, he's happy about that. He said he doesn't want to go this weekend because it's supposed to be gorgeous out, which is nice, but that means it's going to be busy. But knowing him, he might run off with a bucket and go to the driving range anyway. Or maybe just practice on his chipping or something like that. But yeah, so that's the changes. You know, I'm feeling like we're at a happy medium with this. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, part of me is concerned that that we're peaking, but it's going to be like a plateau, and it's like I want to go down more. Um, but at the same time, I think like Michigan, I feel is too strict, and then opposite end where I think Texas, where they just blew the doors open, I think that was a really bad move because we're just gonna go right back to where we started. So I don't know. What are you guys thinking? Feel free to say. I'm really interested in what you have to say instead of me just talking all the time. Um, I feel like things have gotten a little calmer overall. I mean, uh, more people are out, um, and being social. I mean, maybe it's partly because the weather's been better. But I feel like that, I'm I'm happy that things are calmer, but I'm also hoping that it's not complacent. So I am trying to be vigilant. Like I said, I'm not gonna run back out to the store every 2 seconds, just because it's something to do. I got plenty to do. Even my very extroverted self has found things to do, such as, making the videos and staying in touch with y'all. I guess it helps too that folks are starting to get their checks. A lot of people on my Facebook have been saying that they're getting their checks in, even actual checks, not just the direct deposits. There's still the SBAs, the PPPs, and all that types of loans to help out too. They're supposed to have the 1099 or unemployed. We were talking about that the other day at my office, well, virtually through Zoom, and it seems like that the unemployment people, it's a little easier to get through now than it was when this whole thing started. And it seems like that the unemployment people are starting to get on top of this a little bit better, so maybe they hired more people. I know that they said that they did hire more people, but I'm wondering if they hired more on top of that, to keep things moving. Um, so, it's I'm hoping that more people are getting caught up, how are you doing with that? I mean, do you need any help? If you're getting behind, have you talked to your landlords? Because I have been talking to the landlords and just saying how they're doing too, because I help them out a lot. And most of them, they're like, yeah, it's like if someone comes to me and, especially if they've been a good tenant all along and this is now, a temporary thing that was no fault of their own, of course a landlord doesn't want to lose a good tenant. I mean, even if it's all if it is just business, they don't want to ruin a bad relationship like that. But, you got to talk to them. Don't just throw your hands up in the air and, just give up. You got to try, okay? Because it seems like everybody's stepping up. Perfect example, at that food pantry that I volunteer at, there are no extra shifts for the entire month of May because everybody's stepping up as a community. I mean, isn't that wonderful? It's like there are a lot of people that I was at Friday or Thursday that I said, okay, well, am I going to see you again next week? And they are all saying no. These are all new folks that some of them I hadn't met before. And they said, yeah, I tried to get on the list, but all the slots were taken. All the slots were taken. Isn't that wonderful? You know, um, the owner at my brokerage, he reminded me what Mr. Rogers said, in times of crisis, to look for the helpers. And it's like, yeah, I am seeing that, everybody's learning new skills to use to help each other out. I mean, who doesn't know someone who's making masks right now, right? you know. But yeah, it's pretty much I'm that's where I'm at. I'm just concerned that that we're gonna plateau or we're even gonna go up because some states are, just swinging the doors wide open. So please just be vigilant. Stay the course. Don't get complacent. If you need any help, if you need me to pass along a message, if you're experiencing an issue at home, if you're sheltering in place with your abuser or something like that, I want to help you however I can. Please go to my website. I got the phone number right there for Wings. So until then, I'm just going to close out like I do every week, the way that with the Rotary group Rotary Club that I belong to. We always close out the meeting with a 4-way test, and it goes like this. Of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Hope that means something to you and helps you out. And until next week, take care, okay? Feel free to reach out.